So, first of all, let's just be clear. There are no tax cuts on the table here to pay for themselves. So this is a question of what taxes will get raised and for how long. I have never been in the camp that believes that, quote, tax cuts pay for themselves. I mean, there is no serious research evidence to suggest that. The work we've done on what would happen if you were to sort of raise or lower taxes suggests about a 20 to 30% offset, depending on how you do it. And I think that's in the mainstream of the thought. So this really should be about what I believe are the two key imperatives, which are stronger growth. You know, we have millions of people out of work, and the economy is growing, but just way too slowly. And so policy ought to target growth, and it should be about steps toward tax reform. And we, I think, desperately need tax reform. And so my belief in the value of extending the top rates, the dividends, capital gains, things that I think they are the most pro-growth for reasons I can go into. And also, they're on the road to map to tax reform. Raising rates and narrowing the base is going the wrong direction.
Let's go down there. Right?
Yeah.
Tax cuts as pro-growth stimulus, doing something to boost.
So again, there are no cuts here, right? So this is here's where we are. We have what I believe to be a fairly standard recovery from a financial crisis. This is a balance sheet driven exercise, not like a lot of our post-war recessions. So we've got household sectors that got terribly damaged balance sheets. Houses have been diminished in value. All sorts of credit card debts. Pensions have been whacked. And they're doing the sensible thing, which is they're raising their saving rate and they're spending prudently. But they're not going to power this economy forward in a rapid fashion. Same is going to be true of the government sector. Badly damaged balance sheets, problems all over the place. Some states with huge structural deficits are going to have to deal with. So that says, as a matter of process of elimination, you've got the business community and net exports as places you can go. My concern over top rates, dividends, and gains are that they do, in fact, affect the small business community. That's really a community we shouldn't be messing with at the moment. If you go to the ADP employment report, came out today, they're the ones that sort of classify employment by size of firm. Of the 189,000 new jobs since we sort of started recovering in their report, 90% are in firms under 500. So this just strikes me as not worth the risk. And I think having higher rates on dividends, different than capital gains, leads to financial engineering. So that whole package, I think, you just ought to stay away from, especially now.
Leaving aside the cap gains and dividends rates, because I think you're kind of in the same place that the administration is.
Yeah, but the Democrats on the Hill seem content to have this big differential, and that's a bad idea.
As far as the income, the personal income, aren't exceedingly few small businesses in those brackets? We're talking less than 2%?
That's one of the most pointless statistics you could have. I mean, what matters is not the number of tax returns that are filed, but the amount of economic activity that is affected by taxes. And you could force the entire business community to file as a consolidated entity and have one return, and that wouldn't prove anything, right? There's $1 trillion worth of business income that's reported on individual returns, and that's something we actually sought as a matter of tax policy over decades to integrate the business and personal taxes. We know that roughly half of it, $500 billion, will be affected by the top two rates. And then you start guessing, because you don't really know, given tax data, how many employees underneath that. But it looks like something in the area of 20 to 30 million. That's a substantial chunk of the labor market, and one that I don't really feel like endangering at this juncture.